Okay, hello YouTube. I'm going to be showing you how to punish people that mix lines, like in the Italian game or in the Gioco Piano or in the Two Knights Defense. Like if they mix lines and they try to play, um, you know, two lines at the same time or whatever. A really cool way that you can punish people and you can take advantage of it. So if you like content like this and you want to see more of it, please go ahead and click that subscribe button and click on your notification icon. So the opening in question here is going to be a two knights defense. It's going to go e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and we're going to have black play knight to f6. Now I know at the club level, it's super popular to just kind of play the move knight g5 here and go for the fried liver attack, because at the club level, just about everybody after they play d5, when you play e takes d5, so many people will capture back with this knight, and they'll give you this ever so fun position with knight takes f7 that actually the computers and the general consensus is that white is just better here, if not close to completely winning. This is just a really great attack for white. They've kind of worked this stuff out. And so nobody does that anymore. Nobody plays knight takes d5. And by far and away the most popular move, at least on the grandmaster level, is the move knight to a5. And there's a lot of theory here, but white doesn't have a spectacular advantage here. White seems to be doing okay, but so does black. Black seems to be doing okay as well. So as you evolve as a player, you start looking at, okay, what are the other options that I have against the two knights defense? The two knights defense was actually something that was just recently played in the World Championship match between Ian Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen, and of course you saw in that match, you saw the move pawn to d3. This is generally respected at this point to be the best move in this position, and this is being sort of played as kind of a Ruy Lopez substitute by a lot of grandmasters right now. So this is actually, in a way, this is actually the latest of the latest theory. We play the move pawn to d3 because in the Ruy Lopez we're running into things like the Marshall counterattack, which is creating problems. We're also running into the Berlin, which is creating problems. People are forcing draws with these systems, and so we just need something that just keeps a little bit more life in the position than, say, an anti-Marshall or having to play against a Berlin. So a lot of people are playing the Italian game, and then they're meeting the two knights defense with the move pawn to d3. Now, one thing about pawn to d3 is you don't really give up on this idea of knight g5. There are circumstances where you will actually play knight to g5 and you'll get an advantage. For one thing, it happens, I think, a lot at the club level where people will start mixing lines because they think, well, the order of the moves doesn't matter, when of course it does, because there's another very popular way to play this position. It's called the Hungarian defense, and that usually starts with bishop e7, and then black will typically take a development scheme with knight f6, d6, and castles kingside. But the order that they do these moves in really matters. It actually really matters that they've played bishop e7 first, because on knight f6, they can meet the move knight g5 with simply castles kingside. They don't have to do anything special to defend against the threat of knight to f7. That's why it's really important in the Hungarian that we play this early bishop e7 before we do anything else, before we do d6 and knight f6. But some people, they don't know this. They think, well, the move order shouldn't matter that much. I'll play knight f6, and then after white's played kind of this passive d3, because typically against the Hungarian we play d4, we don't play d3, I'll turn it back into a Hungarian, and I'll play pawn to d6. I'll just turn this back into a Hungarian, where white has played this really passive pawn to d3 that doesn't make any sense. He should have played d4. Here, white should be, like, completely winning in this position. So pause the video and see if you can find the move. So yeah, that move is knight g5. So this is just an improved version of the fried liver attack. This is an improved version of the fried liver attack, or it's an improved version of the Palermo check line, because this d3 tempo, it matters a ton. This turns the fried liver attack from an opening where you might have just had a major advantage with white to a position that's completely winning. This extra tempo is so huge. So here, if they played a move like d5 takes, knight takes, and then you continued with knight f7, king f7, queen f3, this position is basically hopeless. This extra tempo is going to be huge, because now this bishop is going to be getting into the game immediately. This is going to be huge. Or at the very least, there won't be any actual difference from the main line of the of the of the fried liver. So you still have this. You still have this basic concept on board. So you've got that going for you. But of course, a lot of people are going to play a move like knight a5 here. But again, this d3 tempo is really important. If you actually look at the main line of knight g5, so if we go back to this bishop c4, knight f6, and we go back to our old favorite, we go back to knight g5, and we take a look at d5, ed5, knight a5, d3 was a move. This was actually a favorite move of Paul Morphy. So d3 was a move. So we're playing this exact same position, but instead of it being black's move here, it's white's move here. Now, in this case, the main line here, and it is important to know the main line to understand why this tempo is so important. The main line here is to kick this knight back immediately, and then after knight f3 to play e4. And then the only reason white doesn't have a huge advantage here is because white is already kind of forced to make an awkward decision. Notice that he can't play d takes, e4 because his bishop will be hanging. So he already has to make kind of an awkward decision. Now, Morphy always opted to play queen e2. This turns out to be not so great because they can play knight takes c4, dc4, and bishop c5, which prevents our f3 knight from going to the square that it wants to go to, which is d4. So it'll have to retreat to d2, and then after castles, castles, and then say bishop g4. Black is actually doing really good here. This is anywhere between slight advantage black to major advantage black in this position. So that's not ideal. So really the way that we have to play it is we have to take this opportunity to put our knight on d4 right away. And these positions are supposed to be pretty close to equal. So like knight d4, and then they play bishop c5 anyway. We could have something like bishop e3, e takes d3, bishop takes d3, knight takes d5, queen f3, knight e3, fe3, queen h4, g3, queen e7. It's close to equal, but again, this position is probably slight edge black. If anybody's better in this position, it's going to be black. White's got this weakness on e3, and it's not enjoyable. It's not a fun weakness to have, and white has to suffer with it, for the rest of the game. So since that's none of that is good, it's kind of understandable how white's position would just be so much better if we just had an extra move, if we just didn't have to get into this trouble with this knight f3 and e4. And as it turns out, it is just so much better with that extra move. So if after they play, we'll go back to this main line here, if after knight f6 we play d3, and they play d6 and we play knight g5, and they play d5, e takes d5, knight a5, now we have this extra move. It's our move, and that's such a big deal. We can play bishop b5 check here, c6, dc6, bc6. We can retreat the bishop to a4, and we have the e4 square available for our knight, and this is such a huge deal. So for example, bishop g4, f3, bishop h5, we could simply retreat the knight unprompted. We could go knight to e4, and this is going to be somewhere between major advantage to decisive advantage white. So like if for example, black goes about the process of exchanging queens, like knight takes d4, e takes d4, queen takes d4, and then king takes, white just has no issues whatsoever finishing his development, and this bishop over here is effectively out of the game. So we're actually going to have more pieces than black once we get our development finished. We're going to have 3 pieces out over here competing on the queen side, and black is only going to have 2. And that's why the computer is giving this somewhere between major to decisive advantage white. It's not just the extra pawn. It's the fact that in the long run, we're actually going to be outnumbering black on the queen side, and black cannot get his pieces over to the queen side fast enough to fix that problem. So that's how you take advantage of people that try to mix systems against your Italian game, and this is actually kind of a good beginner lesson on how to play this move that's become super popular now on the Grandmaster level, probably over the last decade. It's just to play this quiet move, pawn to d3, and this is why people, they can't get away with moves like d6 in this position. You do have knight to g5, leading to advantage white, leading to major advantage white. So anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you learned something new about chess, and I hope you can use these ideas in your own games. Thank you very much for watching.